have stories. Every single one of us. From the highest of the high to the lowest of the low, we all have stories. Exploring the world for the greatest stories of all time.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Aron O'Dowd Show.
The Aron O'Dowd Show. Our soul is the screen upon which we project our dreams. What's your story?
Hello and welcome on today's episode of the Aron O'Dowd Show. We have another incredible guest who's striving and creating a space for people to be empowered and inspired and move others. Her name is Sandy Austin. She is an amazing individual who has a movement called B.I.O.N.I.C to create health and safety environment for the up-and-coming people who are inspiring our world. You can catch her at bionic.org. Hello and welcome to the show, Sandy. How are you doing?
Hi, Aron. Good. Thank you for having me on, and it's great to be with your audience. I do need to say that it's bionicteam.org. Just
my apologies, but we'll get there.
That's okay. Don't want to lose them.
No. Totally agree. Sandy, can you tell us where this movement in you to care and look after others?
You bet. So by trade, I am a professional school counselor. So here in the United States, a lot of the schools have school counselors. We're here to help kids that with social emotional issues, career planning issues, and academic issues to help kids get through school effectively and get the most out of school, to find their potential and to reach their potential once they get out of school. And so what happened is I was one of the most involved counselors with the Columbine school shooting tragedy. And I know with you guys being in Spain, you may not know much about that. That happened way back in 1999. And so that Columbine High School was in my district. And what's interesting is I had student taught at Columbine 17 years before this. And so what happened is we were called over to help at the school that day. And since I had been involved with that school during my student teaching years before teaching, they asked if I would come back and help Columbine as they were recovering from that with the shooting. With that tragedy, 12 students were killed and a teacher was killed. And then 2 years later at my own school, my own high school where I was at, we had 4 suicides in 8 months. And I'm thinking, we're missing something. As school counselors, this is exactly what we're supposed to be preventing. And so as we were talking with kids, we found out that they were all young men who shot up Columbine or took their lives at my school. We found out that they had all told their friends some of their ideas. They may not have said suicide, but they said, I might as well give up. Why should I keep trying? Things like that. And so the kids that heard those things, they were concerned, but they didn't want their friends to get mad at them or to break in confidence. And so they didn't tell any adults that what their friends were struggling with. And so we were doing some presentations with those 4 suicides. There were 3 that happened within a month. And so we went into the English classrooms and we talked to the kids saying, hey, you got to tell us if your friends are hurting because you guys as students don't know how to help your friends when they're at that point, but we as the school counselors can help them. And in one of those presentations that I was making in a classroom, a girl from the back of the room said, I knew John, the 3rd young man who took his life. And she said, but I didn't want him to get mad at me. And I had a student council student right next to me, one of the leaders of the school. She was helping me with the presentation and she didn't skip a beat, but she said, I knew John too, and he told me those things. And now she said, I didn't say anything because I didn't want him to get mad at me, but now I'd rather have a mad friend than a dead friend. And I thought, okay, we have got to empower these kids to know how to reach out to their peers who are going through tough times so that we can get them the help they needed. And so I started a school club called the B.I.O.N.I.C team, which stands for Believe It or Not, I Care. And we empower kids to reach out to their peers who are new, sick, bullied, hospitalized, lose loved ones, to let them know they're seen, they matter, and they're not alone. And I've been doing it for coming on 20 years now.
It must have impacted you so much to make this kind of change.
It did. It did, Aaron. I was very involved with the school, and this actually the where the suicides were. That was my alma mater. I had graduated from that high school, and so that's where it was devastating with Columbine, having student taught there and knowing that community, and then Green Mountain, the second school where the suicides were. It did really impact me. It impacted me so deeply. And I thought, I have got to do every single thing I can in my power to stop this, to let kids know that there is help for them, and try to stop bullying and suicides in the schools.
When did you know you had to make this change? Before the shootings or after the shootings?
After. And so I was a fairly new school counselor at this time. I had only been a school counselor 2 years when this had happened. I was a teacher for 10 years before that. And in the United States, we'd had 2 school shootings before the Columbine tragedy. But we didn't talk about that in my training for a school counselor. We didn't talk about it at all because that wasn't happening. I mean, it just wasn't heard of. And so we didn't know much about it. And so when I saw that happening, especially those suicides, so what happened is after all those, so Columbine happened, then 2 years later, it was the suicides at my school. And so then we were trying all kinds of things to try to empower the kids, to help their friends. We were doing all kinds of things. But Aaron, the next semester, after those 3 suicides that we had in a month, we had 48 kids put on what's called 72-hour holds, which what that means is those kids were thinking about suicide. They had a plan, they had a time they were going to do it, and they had a method that they were going to do it with. And so it's like, okay, so we were trying all these other things that the school district was encouraging us to do, the state, the different organizations. And it's like, and we were trying those for a couple years and they weren't working. We had those 48 kids put on suicide holds. The next semester, it's like, these things aren't working. So I thought, okay, we've got to do something different. And the big thing is we had to empower the kids to reach out to their peers. Now, during the suicides, I was one of the sponsors for the peer counselors at our school, where we would train our kids for a whole semester to be kind of peer counselors within the school. And, but all these suicides happened during that time when we had those peer counselors there. The peer counselors were they were trying to help, but it just wasn't working. And I thought, okay, we've got to do something different. And so that's where I thought, all right, I thought if we can let kids know that they're seen, they matter, and they're not alone when they are new, when they lose loved ones, when they are sick, when they're hospitalized, then we can let them know that we're seeing, that we can provide them resources at that time. And then as school counselors, we can see the kids that are struggling in more ways. So if we could have the kids reach out to the kids during those times, because new kids were coming to our school and they came, either their parents got a promotion, they moved to our state or our new school, or maybe their parent died, or maybe their parents were getting a divorce, or their parents lost their job and they had to live with the grandparents now. So those were tough things. And so I thought if our kids could reach out to these kids during those times, and then for kids that are out for extended illnesses, we do get well packets. We send those to let the kids know, hey, we're thinking about you, and to give them some help with their homework. For kids that are hospitalized, we would go to the hospital and visit them. And 95% of the time, the parents would say, you guys are the only ones from school that came to visit us, and you don't even know my kid. They said he was starting to feel forgotten. Thank you for coming and letting him know that you care. And so those were those things. Kids that had lost loved ones, they were coming to school and sitting in those desks and trying to study and trying to go through everything, but they had this loss and they're trying to figure it out. But so what we would do is we had two different options. At one school, that the first school I did the B.I.O.N.I.C team at, it was a small bedroom community, so everyone lived real close to the school. So what we did is when one of our families of one of our students lost a loved one, we would do a pie delivery to that family in the evening and just say, hey, we're thinking of you. We're giving you this pie so you can hopefully sit down as a family and reminisce and talk about that loved one that you've lost and share precious memories. The second school I was at, it was one of the biggest schools in our district, and so what we did is it would take too long to do those pie deliveries because we had students were able to come from outside of our articulation area, where most students lived close to school. So some would drive an hour away to our school to play football or wrestling or gymnastics because we won state championships in those schools. And so in that school, so people would come all the way from an hour away to be at our school. So we couldn't do those pie deliveries, but we just gave them a mug and some comfort food at our school when they've lost loved ones. So that's how we reached out to the kids when they were going through those tough times.
How did it feel when you created massive impact on those group of children?
Oh, Aron, I have never had children of my own. I have never gotten married yet. And so I don't know, I have not known what it's like to be a parent. But when we were reaching out to those kids and to the families and seeing them cry just in thankfulness that we were doing these things, or for the kids to understand, wow, I was really just struggling, trying to get my homework done. But then we gave them the information for the tutoring and everything, or we gave them just different things when we went to the hospital and seeing a lot of times they were tears of thankfulness. And we would give them a hug if it was appropriate and that type of thing. Aron, those are the most precious memories of my life. I've had a lot of great things happen in my life, but knowing that we were giving those kids hope and those families hope, because the reason why I chose those things, being new, the extended illnesses, being hospitalized, losing loved ones, is because all those guys that took their lives or shot up the school at Columbine, they had all gone through those things. And what happened is then they didn't get the help they needed after those situations. And then other things piled on top of them. And then they were struggling. And that's when they would become suicidal, thinking no one cares about me. I might as well just take my life. And so that's why knowing, Aron, just knowing when we were making those outreaches and we were giving kids hope. And that was the greatest feeling of my life, knowing that hopefully we were preventing suicides by doing all those things. And that I will never forget, Aron, those funerals that I went to of the Columbine students that were shot by the kids who shot up the school, or the funerals at my school of the kids that took their lives by suicide. I will never forget those. I will never forget those. And that's what drives me to keep going. And I will be doing B.I.O.N.I.C till the day I die. The day I die, hopefully that morning I will have done an outreach or tried to encourage someone. And so that's the greatest thrill. I don't make a lot of money as an educator, but these types of feelings of reaching these kids at their darkest times, that's the greatest feeling in the world. And so it's just incredible seeing the impact that we've made for these 20 years now.
In not helping the Columbine shooting, is there a bit of regret in you, or was it just not part of the journey to get to where you are now?
So I was there after the Columbine shooting. So the Columbine shooting happened on a Tuesday, and that afternoon I was there at the school helping, not at the school because the school was shut down, but with the Columbine tragedy, I spent hundreds of hours over at the school. And so, yes, so I wish that I had, after hearing the stories of all those kids that were there during the shooting, kids that had their friend killed right next to them, and a kid running out of the school and a bullet passing his ear and hitting the glass in front of him as he was going out the doors of the school and shattering right in front of him. And so I wish that I was a counselor at the school, that maybe at that time, maybe I had seen some things or had been able to, find out what was really happening. But again, all the school counselors, they were all doing their duties. They were doing their what they were supposed to. The administrators, the teachers, no one at the school, none of the adults at the school knew what was happening, what those guys were planning. And so, yes, so I wish that B.I.O.N.I.C was around before that, because hopefully with what we do for the bullied students, hopefully we could have prevented the shooting at Columbine. And so, yes, Columbine, every time I drive over by that area, I just, my heart just breaks for that community, because they're still struggling after that type of a tragedy and losing all those kids and that teacher. And what was interesting is that teacher that was killed, I had coached with him basketball when I was student teaching. And so all of that is really close to my heart. So again, those are the things that keep driving me on to keep trying to figure out how we can stop any tragedies from happening. And as I hear of things at other schools and that aren't our B.I.O.N.I.C schools and that type of thing, really thinking, what else can we do? And boy, what I have seen since COVID, Aron, it is just really sad. Things have really changed in the schools here in the United States. I don't know how they are there in Spain, but so what happened is I ended up going back to school this last year to be a school counselor. I had retired early from being a school counselor 5 years ago, so I could do B.I.O.N.I.C full time. But a school called me and said, "Sandy, please," they had not been able to find a school counselor to fill in for a counselor that left last year. It's one of the toughest alternative schools in the district that I'm in, and they kept asking. They just could not find anyone. And it was already a month and a half into the school year. And they contacted me again saying, "Sandy, please, would you come and help?" And Aron, I did. And I was shocked by what I saw, the changes in the schools, with the students, with the staff, with the parents, with everyone, every single person in the schools now. They're still struggling. Our kids, that I saw there in the school, and I hear this across the board, that kids basically regress 2 years here in the United States by being out of school for a year and a half with COVID and everything. And so, right, I mean, it was devastating to see what was going on at that school this year. But this summer, we're really looking at our B.I.O.N.I.C programming and adding a few things and making some changes for us to be even more impactful to prevent bullying and suicides in as many schools as possible. Our goal is to have one in every school around the world, so that kids can have a great growing up and to reach their full potential and see that they are worthwhile and that they do have value in this world, so that they can go out and be adults that can contribute to society. So that's my hope and my prayer through all this.
What is the definition of B.I.O.N.I.C?
So B.I.O.N.I.C, again, stands for Believe It or Not, I Care. And basically our mission is to prevent bullying and suicides by inspiring and empowering kids to create caring school cultures by letting their struggling peers know that they are seen, they matter, and they are not alone. So that's kind of a synopsis of what B.I.O.N.I.C is all about.
And tell us about, how did it come out? Was it before so after the shootings, did you decide to make this happen? Tell us all about
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. So it was after the Columbine shooting and then after the suicides at my school. So that's, it was after all those that I started B.I.O.N.I.C. Yes.
And is the mission of B.I.O.N.I.C to help students and children not to be bullied and suicide? Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes, definitely.
And
Yes.
and how can someone go through that to not have that happen?
Here you go. So if they want to find more out about Bionic, they can go to bionicteam.org and they can learn about it. And basically, it's a school club. So we need someone in the school, an adult in the school, to be the leader of it. And then we have all the information and all the training and materials and everything to help them to get a Bionic team going at their school and to be able to impact their schools and create a more caring climate at their schools so that kids. So it's a very positive place, and there's no bullying there at the school, and kids know that the teachers and the students, other students care. And the thing is that students today, the young people, they don't know a lot about how to reach out to someone. They don't know what to say if a peer or someone loses a loved one. They don't know what to say. A lot of adults don't know what to say either, these days. But that's what we do. We teach the kids and the staff what to do to reach out to, again, kids that are new, that are sick, that are bullied, that lose loved ones, that are hospitalized. And also we reach out to the staff that are hospitalized and lose loved ones too, because they're struggling too. And so that's what we do as far as so if anyone would be interested in finding out more, and we have bionic teams across the world in Belize and India and Taiwan. We don't have one in Spain yet, so I'd love to help you guys get one going there. And in fact, with this, if someone says, hey, I want one at my school, I will do it for the first person that contacts me, and I will give it to them for free. It costs $1,200 United States money to start a bionic team, and we can work with you guys as far as how to and we give you all the training, everything that you need to start a bionic team at your school. And what's so exciting, Aron, is that even others are starting bionic teams. Our alumni that have gone through the bionic teams, when I was leading the teams at my schools, at my two schools, they are 40 years old now. And so what they're doing is they're coming to me and saying, Sandy, you know what? At the place that I'm working right now, there are employees who are new, who are sick, who are hospitalized, and who lose loved ones. And, I want to reach out to them, like with our bionic outreaches. And so that's what's exciting. And also churches and organizations, nonprofits, because every business that has more than one person, there are people there that are hurting. They'll go through life circumstances that will be tough. And so that's where our bionic outreaches can be. You can do it for sixth grade kids, for 6-year-old kids, for seniors in high school, for colleges. So we have bionic teams in any realm of life, but it's just creating a caring climate so that everyone can reach out to each other and just care. Again, it doesn't have to be anything big. It's just to say how to say hi, just giving someone a card if they lose a loved one or if they're hospitalized or sick or something like that. But little things that we do to just encourage everyone to reach out to each other.
But does your younger self, you wish you had something like that when you were in school?
Oh, yes, Aron. Thank you for that. Oh my gosh. I love to talk to little Sandy. But you know what's neat is when I was growing up, I cared. I just wanted to make a difference. And so with McDonald's, Ronald McDonald, they had some carnivals where we could have a carnival in our backyard. And actually it wasn't McDonald's. We had McDonald's sandwiches there for the kids, but it was something called muscular dystrophy, Jerry Lewis telethon. I'm dating myself. But anyway, so what we did is Jerry Lewis, he was an actor way back. He would have this telethon on Labor Day. Again, you guys probably don't know what that is. That's in September when everyone has that day off here in the United States. And what they do is they had a telethon there where they were asking people to donate to heal muscular dystrophy and to find a cure and everything. And so I think I was fourth grade. And so I saw this and I heard about people doing carnivals in their backyard. So I asked my Mom, can I do a carnival in my backyard? So we had little things where people could throw darts and try to hit a target. And if they get the target, then they get a sucker or something like that. But people would have to pay a little money to go in the carnival. And we had different fun things, little games that kids could play and that type of thing. So I was raising money there. My brother worked at a lollipop factory. And so what happened is he would get these lollipops that were bad. They were, deformed or whatever. And so they would give them to him. And he had them. He said, Sandy, do you want to sell these at school to raise money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association? So I did. So I brought these candy bars, these lollipops to school, and I was selling them. And then we'd get the money and I would donate it to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. So I started way back in fourth grade. I just wanted to make a difference in people's lives, and I did different things all throughout my life trying to make a difference. And then when I was a teacher, I wanted to become the student council, which was the student leadership group of the school. I wanted to become that sponsor of that, the leader of that, of the kids, to help them become leaders and to learn how to care and make a difference. Something called National Honor Society. That's where kids that really wanted to do some service projects and that type of thing. I was that. I did all those things before I became a school counselor and started B.I.O.N.I.C, because I wanted to empower kids to let them know we need them in this world. They have a very important voice and they're very important in their peers' lives. And so all the way from fourth grade on, I just kept wanting to care and wanted to raise money for charities and everything. So I've been doing it all my life. So it's such a blessing to be able to do that and be able to reach other people that are hurting, because I've gone through some tough things in life too. And just to know what we can do to help each other, because we do need each other, no matter what our race is, our ethnic background, whatever, what color hair we have, whatever our education degree is or level, we all need each other. And that's what I'm excited with B.I.O.N.I.C now, as we're expanding to do things more in the businesses too, to empower change in this world, just to make this a more caring place. Here in the United States, there's a lot of battling, a lot of arguing with our politicians and everything. And I'm just tired of it. Our kids need to know there's hope for them. And what's so exciting, Aron, is the kids get excited thinking they could make a difference. They could change this world. And so that's what I'm so excited about.
From fourth grade to now, what inspires you to do what you do?
Aron, honestly, it's my faith. I have a faith in God, and I just felt that He really loves me, and I thought I want to just love people. And doesn't mean I need to talk about God to people or B.I.O.N.I.C. We don't talk about God in B.I.O.N.I.C, but I just love people. I just have a love for people, and I just see that there are people that are hurting out there. And so that is what drives me, is just to make people know that they are loved. And again, it could be by buying someone coffee in the line behind me when I'm going to get my coffee, buying my coffee. Actually, I don't do coffee, but I do tea. But buying something like that, giving just a little thank you, saying hi to people. Something as simple as that when we're in the grocery store or shopping or whatever, just saying hi to people, because people don't do that anymore. And I don't know what it's like there in Madrid and where you are, Aron, but people are so stressed. They're so fatigued. They're so frustrated. They're flustered with the time that we're in, that I just think if we can reach out and just say hi to people, because life is hard, life is great at times, but life is hard, and we all go through tough things, and just smiling at someone or saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, a coworker or someone that we know that we hear they lost a loved one or something, just saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, or different things like that. So that's what drives me. That's the gut part of me that I just feel loved, and so I want to love other people. And again, I don't cram God down anyone's throat. That's for me in my church, and I do that. But I don't have to push that on anybody else, because I've known a lot of people that have pushed it and have done that, and they've caused more problems than anything. So I stay away from that. And if someone wants to talk to me about that stuff, great. If not, no big deal. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here just to try to create a more caring culture in this world.
What advice would you give to your students, adults, that would inspire them?
I would just say, so often people don't reach out because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. So I think the greatest advice I could give to anyone is that if you see someone hurting and you are moved to try to encourage them, to try to say something, you can even say to them, I don't know what to say. I am so sorry what you're going through. I don't know what to say, but I just want to let you know I care about you. And so that's the thing. We don't have to do anything really big. We can just smile, like I said, at people walking down the street, just say hi, things like that. There are times that you have to be careful. There's certain situations, if you don't feel safe, you don't have to try to say hi to everybody, but just trying to make a difference. And again, just be yourself. If you're shy, I was so shy when I was little that my pastor nicknamed me Smiley, because I would just smile and hide behind my mom's leg. So people are shocked to know how outgoing I am now and everything. But what has happened is, with me reaching out to people and seeing their response and seeing the difference I've been making, I have a lot more courage to reach out to people now, just to let them know I care. And so that's the thing. Do it according to your personality. If you're not a real outgoing person and it's hard for you to say something, then maybe just write a note, just a note. I'm thinking of you. I heard you lost a loved one. I'm thinking of you. I care. And then just sign it and just give that to that person. So just do it according to your personality, and you don't have to be fake. But if your heart is tugged at something that someone else is going through, and that's, I encourage you just to reach out in little ways. And what's interesting is, if you're down, what I found is times that I've been discouraged or have gone through a tough time, what helps me a lot of times get out of that and be more encouraged and help to deal with that is to reach out to other people myself. And then I feel better. And then, things are just, because when we're reaching out to people, people will reach out back to us typically. And we don't do that so that people will reach out back to us. But by reaching out to other people, people will appreciate you, and they will include you, and they will show their gratitude to you too. So that's what's been encouraging, is every time we reach out, people say thank you, or they get tears in their eyes by knowing that we wanted to reach out to them. So that's what's been just amazing through these 20 years of doing B.I.O.N.I.C. And those other years that I did those carnivals and all those other things. But that's what's so rewarding with B.I.O.N.I.C, is seeing the difference that I'm making. And with our schools that have B.I.O.N.I.C teams, Aron, it is amazing the change that we've seen in the schools, like at Green Mountain when we started B.I.O.N.I.C. And what was interesting is that semester, after we had those first 3 suicides, I went to a school counselor training in our district, and someone said to me, "You're from Green Mountain? Ooh, that's the death school." Oh, Aron, that just ripped out my heart, because when I was at Columbine, people said that about Columbine, that Columbine was the death school. And the death school is the most difficult public stigma for a school to erase. And so what happened is, as we were doing B.I.O.N.I.C, and another part of this that I haven't mentioned is that as we would reach out to different situations, the kids would hear of, say, maybe a student that was killed at another school, and they'd say, Miss Austin, can we reach out to that school where that student went to let them know that we're thinking of them, because we know it's hard when they lose a student. And so I said, yeah. And so anyway, we started doing these posters, about 30-foot posters that we would send or deliver to other schools where there were tragedies. And so what's been amazing is with those posters, then the kids, we started sending those to schools in our district that would lose a student, say through an accident, a car accident, or, or lose a school staff member. And what happened is then 3 years after we had B.I.O.N.I.C going, I went to one of those counselor trainings again, and someone came up to me and said, Sandy, thank you so much. You guys sent us that poster after we lost that student in that car accident. She said, I saw what they did is they put the poster up in the cafeteria. And again, it's 30 feet long. So there's a lot of signatures on that and people writing things to try to encourage the other school. And so what this school counselor said, Sandy, thank you for sending that school tragedy poster to us, because it really encouraged us. She said, you guys are the caring school. So between hearing that first comment that you guys are the death school to you guys are the caring school, oh my gosh, it was incredible. Aron, kids were looking out for each other. We changed the culture of that school to where kids were caring about each other. Kids were looking out for each other. When kids lost loved one, kids were saying things to them in the hall saying, hey, I'm sorry to hear about your loved one. But there was one kid that for an entire year, he stood at the front door of the school and he held that door open for the kids. Even when it was snowing, even it was raining, he would hold the door open for the kids so that they could come in and he would say, have a good day. And so that's what's incredible. And that's what our alumni now, they are doing this. They are reaching out, and all the students, when they go through the program and they leave that school, they're continuing to reach out to people when they go to the next level of school, when they're in college, when they're working, when they are raising their own kids, when they're in their own businesses, they are doing this. And so that's what is so encouraging to see how that all has worked through those 20 years.
Amazing. And wow. Sandy, if you could fast forward time, what would the legacy you'd like to leave behind with B.I.O.N.I.C?
Aron, you're going to make me cry, buddy. Aron, what I would love, since I don't have kids of my own, I would love at my funeral for kids that have gone through my program to say, I learned from Sandy how to care about people, and I care about people in my family, in my business. I cared in my school. But what I would love to do is, Aron, my dream is for just a movement to start where it starts with the kids, where kids, because it's such a good feeling. For example, Aron, like our kids at school, what would happen is on Monday, we had a lunch for the new students at the school. And so they would say to them, hey, we're glad to have you here. Here's some pizza. So why did you come here? And the kids would say, my mom died. And so I had to come out and move to live with my grandma. And so that's why we're here. So our B.I.O.N.I.C kids would see that and they would know what to say to that kid to encourage them and say, hey, I'm here to support you. The next day, we would find out a kid is in the hospital. And so what would happen is then we would go to the hospital and deliver a mug and Hershey's Kisses to them and say, hey, we're thinking about you. We hope that you recover as quickly as possible and are back at school because we miss you. And the kid would think, oh my gosh, I was feeling forgotten for a week. I've been in here and no one from school came to see me. And so they're encouraging that kid. And then 2 days later, we do a pie deliveries for the families at school that have lost loved ones. And the kids are doing these pie deliveries. They're going to their homes and saying, hey, we're sorry to hear about your loss. And we hope you can come together as a family and around this pie and just talk about that person. And the people, the parents and those kids, they hug them saying, thank you. It has been so hard going through this. Kids that have lost their siblings, a brother, a sister, a mom, a dad, an aunt or an uncle or grandparent or friends. And these people are reaching out. And so what's happening is these kids are going, wow, I just made a difference in these kids' lives this week. And that gives them the encouragement to know what to do. So Aron, that is my dream for the legacy I want to leave, is that I want it to be for those kids to feel comfortable as they learn it in school, and then as they go out into their lives, that they are making a difference, that any place that they are, whether that is their business, whether it's their family, whether it's a church, whether it's an organization, whether it's a bowling league, whatever they're doing, whether it's sports league, wherever they are making a difference. They are saying, hey, I'm here. As long as I'm here, I care. And, like some kids have said in the best, hey, not on my watch as far as bullying happening at their school or in their business or different things, but they want it to be a positive place in this world wherever they are, and they have the power to make that difference. It doesn't have to be really big things. We do have something coming up in October. It's called October 10th. It's called 1010 I Care Day. And we thought, with all of our schools around the world, wouldn't it be fun to see how much difference we could make in one day? So we call it 1010 I Care Day on October 10th. We encourage everyone to do 10 things that day to make a difference in 10 people's lives, one person each hour for 10 hours. So we tell the kids, hey, you guys, when you wake up in the morning, call your grandma and tell her you love her. And then, or call someone else and tell them that you care about them. You're thinking about them. Before you leave for school that day, put a Hershey's Kiss on the pillow of every person in your family, so that when they go to bed that night, they see that Hershey's Kiss and know that you were thinking about them. When they go to school, bring a flower to the secretary to say thank you for what she does. Write thank you notes for their teachers, things like that. So these are simple things that these schools and communities are doing just to make a caring climate, make a very positive thing. And what we've seen over and over again after 1010 I Care Day, we've seen the schools just become incredible places. Everyone is caring for each other. And what's great is things continue. It continues to happen. Not, everyone doing 10 things. At my last school that I was at, we did 25,000 outreaches on that October 10th, my last October 10th that I was there. It was incredible. It was such a positive place. While people were walking down the hall, people were saying hi, and it's just incredible. And so, Aron, that is my legacy. I want to create a more caring culture in this world where people are looking out for each other. People are caring about each other. And kids are getting their eyes off their phone and they're looking around to see who is hurting around them, who may be looking a little discouraged or whatever. But that is the legacy that I want to leave, is to empower these kids. When I'm gone, I want them to keep it going and to spread it out as much as across the whole world. That's my dream. That's my dream, is to create a caring climate in this world where people know they're cared, they're seen, they matter, and they're not alone.
Wow, wow, wow. Sandy, it's been a blast and a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing where B.I.O.N.I.C goes. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a blast.
Thank you for listening to the Aron O'Dowd Show, where the world's best stories are told. If you like, please post a review or subscribe to the show. To find out more, contact us at aronodowd.com. That's ARONODOWD.com. We're always ready to share another magnificent tale from the world's best storytellers. So stay tuned and rock on.